I've been getting quite a few questions from students about the grading on the initial assignments. So I wanted to record this because, and what you're looking at is part of an email that a student sent me, and the student's wondering why they received these grades on, if you notice right up here, assignment number one, which I think was sending the email, the student educational background, assignment number two, then assignment number three, which was the discussion board to introduce yourself, assessment number one. Notice these aren't marked yet, but they will be, and well, I'll explain how I'm going to grade the assessment. And then we have the assignment of uploading, the two uploading assignments. And the question was really about assignment number two, why they got a 3 out of a possible 4 points. And I just wanted to explain the system. Now, and let me just point out that these correspond to the assignments, and let's go over to a course. This happens to be my criminal justice ethics course. The same thing is true with my other ethics courses in week one. And week one usually starts the same way. But, excuse me, we're in course content, and I wanted to go into week one. Okay, here I am. And notice I had the welcome message, and now I had assignment number one, which says, and maybe I should make this slightly bigger, 90, 100, a little bit easier to read. And in fact, I'm going to get rid of this bar to make it. Okay, this is about sending the email to me. Assignment number two, student educational background. And you answered, it was looked like a quiz. And if you go down there, was that it for this one? Oh no, assessment number one was the discussion about the trolley example. And here are the assignments to upload it. So they probably look the same way. Now the question is, how were they graded? Well, on assignment number one, this particular student got a 4. Normally, and remember, the system works if you get credit, good credit for either a 2, a 3, or a 4. A 2 being a minus, meaning you did it, you gave it a good try, but you didn't get the right answer. 3 meaning a check, you tried it and you did a satisfactory job. So that's a 3, which is a check. A 4 is a plus, meaning you did really an excellent job. Now you get the same credit for all three of those. The difference between a 2, 3, and 4 is just to indicate to you that whether you did a really good job or you were just off base on it, you get the same credit. It counts towards the 80% of completion of the assignments. Now, in here, the reason they got this 4, I imagine, is just that they sent the email in earlier when it first came out, before I even asked or I even told you that there was assignment in there. You had done it, so I wanted to sort of give you a little bump up, so you got a plus on that. In terms of the educational survey, well, you did it when it was assigned. You got a 3. That's fine. You might have gotten a 2 if you'd left a lot of stuff out. With regard to the discussions, it's going to be talking about the quality of the discussions. Assessment number one was that's assessment number one. What was the introduce yourself one? Assignment number 3 was the discussion to introduce yourself. That one I haven't graded for this student yet. And basically, you're going to get a 3, a check if you got it. If you put in a photograph of yourself, or if you put in an address where people could contact, an email the address where people could contact with you, some kind of contact information, you're going to get a 4 over there. And you're going to get a minus if you basically didn't do. It's going to be hard where you were introducing yourself. On the assessment, the other thing is I asked you to go back on the discussion of the moral problem. That'll get you, if you went back, if you did all the things, you're going to get a 3. If you got a really good answer, you'll get a 4. There are going to be very few of those. And they're going to be a 2 means, you either It's probably a combination. You didn't get it right and you didn't reply to anybody else's stuff. Now, anything below that, a 1 is basically if you did it, but you really didn't try to do it, and you were really off base. And a 0 is probably where you're going to be if you didn't hand it in at all, or it'll be blank because you won't even have this indicating that it has not been graded yet. And basically, with the uploading, it was either you uploaded it or you did not upload it. So that's would get you a 3 in those categories. And I want you to go in and when you look at your grades and you see something like this, make sure all your assignments are graded and you don't have either any zeros or any blanks. If you have one of these circles that I'm pointing to with the exclamation point, it's a yellowish greenish circle with an exclamation point. It just means that I have not looked at it yet and I have not graded it. But if you don't even have one of these, go back and do the assignment and to get credit for it. I just want you to understand. Now, don't get nervous about what your grades are. You can get all 2s on here as long as you do 80%. You're going to get the full 80% of all of the assignments. You're going to get that full 65 points of credit towards your final grade. So you just want to make sure. Don't get frustrated. You could get, as I'm saying, you can get all 2s all the way. You have 80% of the assignments done. You can still easily get an A in the course. However, let me assure you that when it comes to the point where we're really just looking at discussions where you're reinforcing your knowledge, while you're going to get full credit in the doing the assignments category, the first category of the grade, the likelihood of your doing well on everything else, on the multiple choice, and even more so on the essay questions, it's not very high because you don't seem to be getting it if you're getting 2s all along. But you're not going to get, on these particular assignments, your educational survey, you're not going to not get an A in the class because you just submitted the thing. And in fact, there's no way you could get a 3 or submitting the uploading, either sending me your email, which most people got a 3 on. A few people sent it in early, so they got a 4. But if you got a 3 there, a 3 there, a 3 there, let's say you got 3s all along, you still could very well be on your way towards an A in the course. That's not going to affect your grade, and there's nothing you can do to get a higher one at this point. And don't even worry about it. Worry about it for the future. And in fact, the only thing I might be looking there is as you start doing only discussions, questioning your knowledge about what you were listening to on the videos. The discussions are going to indicate that. If you're not doing well in that and can't figure out why, then ask the questions. But you can get all checks and still end up with an A in the course. You can get all, that is, checks were number 3, minuses were number 2. You can get all minuses and end up with an A in the course as long as you learn the stuff so that on the exams you're doing well. Now go back and look at the criteria for grading. Make sure you understand how that fits in. And in fact, at some point on quizzes that I'm going to give, I'm going to start giving you some examples of, or maybe I'll just give you a grading quiz, give you an example of a set of grades, and you will have to tell me, what grade the person will get in the course. But don't worry about it. You're doing fine. You've submitted the work. In fact, in this case, as of today, this person has submitted all the work that they need to for week number 1. So they're in perfect shape going forward. And in addition to which, especially week number 1, don't get nervous about what you're doing on the discussions. There aren't going to be very many people who get 4s, virtually none. And most will get 3s, or a lot will get 2s, and a lot will get 2s either for one reason or another. Either on the discussion of the trolley example, they did not understand something about the way the example was set up, which means that there were only 2 options, either turn or you don't turn. If you didn't get that, you weren't paying attention, and you could have ended up, if you didn't get that and you didn't bother responding to two or three, preferably three of your classmates' postings, if you didn't reply, that is, to their postings, you would end up with a 2, which is a minus. But even if you got it wrong, that you didn't understand that it was only what's called a binary option, one of two choices. That is, should you turn the trolley or should you not turn the trolley? If you got that right and didn't reply, or if you got that wrong and you did reply to several of your to two or three of your classmates' postings, which was what the assignment was asking you to do, in that case you would have gotten a 3, a check. Now, very few people in all my classes did really an excellent job, and they ended up with 4s because they understood that it was asking you a question that you could only answer. Either the right thing to do was turn or not turn, or maybe you understood that, but you said there is no right thing to do in that case. I was going to accept that in week number 1. I hope this explains. If you still have more questions, by all means, send me an email. Other than this, in fact, this is an email from a student, and that's about all I can say about it and tell you not to worry. It doesn't mean you're not getting an A in the course at this point, which is, I think, what the student who was asking me about this and other people, more than one student's asked me. I think that could be the question on your mind. And if it isn't, send me an email and explain to me what exactly is the question that you're asking.